You treated her with respect. You never raised your voice. You listened. You texted first. You did everything a good man is supposed to do. So why did she grow cold? Why did she lose attraction? Why is she now with a man who treats her like an option? Today, I'm going to show you what no one tells men. That being the nice guy isn't the problem. It's what you sacrificed to become him that killed the attraction. Chapter 1. Why good men finish confused. Let's start here. Most men who call themselves good guys are not wrong. They are kind. They do care. They do want to protect, support, love. But here's the twist. They've been taught that niceness is the same as value, that the more agreeable you are, the more attractive you become. But women don't fall for agreement. They fall for depth. They fall for presence. They fall for conviction. And that's what nice guys tend to lose. The good guy often operates from a hidden contract. If I'm kind enough, patient enough, helpful enough, then I deserve love in return. But that's not love. That's performance. That's conditional giving masked as virtue. Women feel that. They feel when you're doing things to get instead of from who you truly are. She doesn't want a man who's nice to win her. She wants a man who's grounded in his truth, regardless of her reaction. There's a difference between being kind and being nice. Kindness is power in restraint. Niceness is powerlessness, pretending to be soft. And when she loses attraction, it's not because she doesn't value your good heart. It's because she doesn't feel your edge. You're safe, but you're not polarizing. You're comforting, but you're not magnetic. Here's the brutal truth. She left not because you were bad, but because you abandoned your truth to become good. Chapter 2. The 3 psychological mistakes nice guys make. Let's break it down. If you've ever been ghosted, friend-zoned, or slowly pushed away despite being consistent, thoughtful, and generous, it wasn't bad luck. It was these 3 unconscious psychological mistakes that kill attraction, quietly but consistently. Let's go through them one by one. 1. Suppressing truth to keep the peace. Most nice guys are conflict avoidant. They'll bite their tongue, nod along, or say it's fine when it isn't, just to avoid tension. But here's the thing. Women don't want a man who agrees with everything. They want a man who's real, who can speak his truth, even if it's uncomfortable. Every time you avoid conflict to keep the peace, you signal weakness, not calm. You show her you value approval more than authenticity. And slowly, she starts to feel she's in a relationship with a shadow, not a man. 2. Giving to get. Nice guys often give a lot: affection, attention, gifts, reassurance. But the energy behind it isn't generosity, it's anxiety. You're not giving from fullness. You're giving to get something back. You're trying to earn love because deep down, you don't believe you're worthy of it by just being you. She can feel that. She may not say it out loud, but it makes her uneasy. It creates a pressure that love should never have. Love thrives in freedom, and when you give with strings, spoken or unspoken, you create emotional debt instead of desire. 3. Needing her to be okay so you can be okay. This one's big. You're constantly scanning her mood, her reactions, her tone of voice. If she's upset, you become anxious. If she pulls back, you panic. If she's not smiling, you feel like you failed. Here's the problem. You've made her your emotional thermostat. You've outsourced your sense of well-being to her mood. And when you do that, you lose masculine polarity because now you're not grounded. You're reactive. You're dependent. She stops seeing you as a man who can hold space and starts feeling like she has to hold space for you. And no woman wants to mother the man she's sleeping with. So what's the result of these 3 mistakes? You become agreeable, available, and invisible. You stop being a grounded, sovereign man and start becoming a reflection of her, hoping that's enough to keep her. But here's the truth. You don't get love by being less of yourself. You get love by being more of yourself, with clarity, boundaries, and presence. Chapter 3. The difference between niceness and kindness. Let's clarify something that men often confuse, and it costs them deeply in love, relationships, and even in life. Niceness is not the same as kindness. You might think you're being good to her, that you're showing care, loyalty, selflessness, that your effort should be appreciated. But she doesn't respond to how nice you are. She responds to how true you are. So what's the difference? Niceness is fear-based. It's driven by a subconscious need to avoid disapproval. It says, I'll agree, I'll adapt, I'll please you, just don't reject me. It's externally smooth, but internally hollow. And it comes with resentment later because it always hopes to get something in return. Niceness is saying yes when you mean no, smiling when you're dying inside, staying silent when your truth wants to roar, sacrificing your standards to be accepted, and women feel it. Even if you never say a word, she can sense when you're performing, when your calm is compliance, not conviction. Kindness is truth-based. It comes from fullness, not fear. Kindness says, I respect you, but I won't betray myself to keep you close. It's grounded, it's sovereign, it's generous, but with boundaries. Kindness is speaking truth with compassion, saying no with love, protecting her without sacrificing your values, being firm without being cold. Kindness is an offering. Niceness is a transaction. Here's a truth most men don't want to hear. A woman doesn't lose attraction to you because you're too nice. She loses attraction because you have no center beneath the nice. When you're truly kind, your yes means something. So does your no. Your energy doesn't try to manage her. It meets her. It doesn't shrink. It stands. And when a woman feels that in you, she doesn't flinch, she softens. Here's a simple way to test the difference in your own life. Next time you're about to do something thoughtful for her, pause. Ask yourself, am I doing this from generosity or from a fear of losing her? If it's from fear, stop. Reconnect to yourself first. Only give from a full place. Only speak from a true place. Only love when you can hold your own center while doing it. That's not being a bad boy. That's being a man. Chapter 4. How the nice guy violates boundaries more than the bad boy. Let's challenge a myth. Nice guys are respectful. Bad boys are dangerous. And sounds simple, right? But real life is more complex. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Nice guys often violate boundaries far more than the so-called bad boys. They just do it quietly and with a smile. Let me explain. Nice guys often pride themselves on being the respectful one. They're not aggressive. They don't yell. They don't cheat or manipulate. But what they do is blur emotional lines without realizing it. They overtext to feel close, push for attention when she's pulling away, say it's okay when they feel betrayed, offer support they don't really want to give, say yes when they deeply mean no. Why? Because they're trying to avoid discomfort. They're trying to control outcomes through softness. And here's the thing. That's not respect, that's boundary fusion. When a man doesn't speak his truth, enforce his limits, or hold to his integrity, he creates emotional pressure in the relationship. She begins to feel smothered. She doesn't know where he begins and she ends. And slowly, she starts to pull back. Not because he's bad, but because he's invisible. Compare that to a man who's grounded, even if a bit rough. He may not always say the right thing. He might challenge her. He doesn't always try to fix her emotions, but he's honest. And honesty creates safety. Why? Because boundaries are visible. They're real. They give her something to trust, to lean against, to respect. You can't feel secure with someone who melts every time you test them. That kind of niceness turns into resentment, and women feel it, even if they can't explain it. Let's be clear. A woman will always test your edges, not to break you, but to find where you stand. If you collapse, she loses respect. If you bark back, she may fear you. But if you remain firm and open, she feels safe. She relaxes. She trusts. So if you think you're being nice by always adjusting, always accommodating, always smoothing things over, understand this: you're not respecting her boundaries. You're disrespecting yours. And without your own boundaries, your niceness becomes neediness, not attractive, not inspiring, not safe. Chapter 5: How to reclaim your masculine edge without becoming a jerk. By now, you might be asking, okay, if niceness isn't the answer, do I have to become rude, aggressive, or emotionally detached to be attractive? The short answer: absolutely not. You don't need to be a jerk. You need to be solid. You need to become a man who lives by his internal compass, not her reactions. Because what truly draws a woman in, what makes her respect you, relax with you, and desire you is your edge, not aggression, not attitude, edge. So what does that actually look like? 1. Stop performing. Start presenting. When you walk into a room, stop scanning for approval. Stop thinking, what do they want from me? Will she like this? Should I say it differently so she doesn't get upset? That's performance. And every performance ends in burnout and rejection. Instead, present yourself. Speak from your truth. Say what you mean calmly. Own your opinions, even if they're unpopular. You'll notice something almost instantly. People listen more. Women respond with curiosity, not control. You're not trying to fit in. You're commanding space with quiet confidence. 2. Don't apologize for who you are. There's a difference between righting a wrong and shrinking for approval. The nice guy often says, sorry, just to keep the peace. But when you apologize for being yourself, your values, your standards, your boundaries, you erode your edge. Instead, try this. I understand that made you feel uncomfortable, but that's where I stand. No shame, no softness, no power loss. That's leadership, not dominance. That's calm, not cold. Do hard things consistently. Masculine edge isn't a mindset, it's a practice. You earn it through action, through doing difficult things on purpose. Say no when it's uncomfortable. Hold silence instead of rushing to fix emotions. Train your body. Build something. Stay on mission. A man with edge isn't intimidating because he's loud. He's powerful because he's anchored. He can feel emotion, but not drown in it. He can listen, but not agree just to avoid conflict. He can love deeply without needing constant reassurance. That's magnetic. That's masculine. That's rare. Here's what most men never hear. You don't need to stop being good. You need to stop abandoning yourself in the name of being good. Reclaim your edge, and the women who once looked past you will start looking up to you. Chapter 6. She didn't leave because you were nice. She left because she couldn't feel you. Let's land the truth. She didn't leave because you were too nice. She left because she couldn't feel your core anymore. You became invisible in the name of being easy to love. You made everything smooth. You made everything agreeable. You became the emotional wallpaper in her life. But what most men don't realize is this. Love doesn't die because of arguments. It dies in the silence where your truth used to live. She wanted to feel your yes land like commitment. She wanted to feel your no backed by grounded strength. She wanted to feel your presence, not just your performance. But instead, what she got was someone always adjusting, always pleasing, always calculating. And slowly, she began to wonder, who is this man really? What does he stand for? Would he still be this person if I wasn't here? And when a woman has to ask that, her body stops trusting you. Not because she's cruel, not because she doesn't love you, but because something inside her says, this man can't hold me, because he can't even hold himself. That's how attraction fades, not through betrayal, but through emotional evaporation. Here's the truth most men never hear. You're not meant to be nice. You're meant to be noble. There's a difference. Niceness is fear in a mask. Nobility is strength in silence. You don't have to stop being caring. You don't have to stop being generous. You just have to stop leaking yourself in every interaction. You have to stop needing her to regulate your worth. You have to stop confusing compliance with love. So what now? You build your core back. You become a man who speaks truth without apology, leads without domination, loves without emotional dependence, holds space without collapsing into it, feels deeply but acts with direction. When you become that man, she feels you, she leans in, she respects you, she opens to you, because you're not trying to win her love anymore. You're just being love in human form. Stop being a man who's easy to tolerate and start becoming a man who's impossible to forget. If this episode made you sit a little straighter, if you saw yourself in these words or felt a truth you've been avoiding, that's not by accident. You're not here for surface level content. You're here to evolve, to lead yourself, and to stop living the same emotional loop on repeat. If that's you, hit subscribe. Not because I asked, but because you're ready to listen to yourself more than the noise around you. And in the comments, drop the one line that hit you hardest. Because the man who speaks his truth, even in a comment section, is already building the life he once thought was out of reach.